Living Wisely by Thinking Wisely. This is a YouTube channel with Dr. William Isley, and I want to talk today about an experience and where I learned to think wisely as a patient. Lessons from an unexpected and unasked for hospital visit. And I just want to share, this channel is very concerned about if we think properly, we're going to live wisely. If we don't live wisely according to what we think, we're going to actually end up beginning to think unwisely. Bishop Fulton Sheen once said, if you do not live what you believe, you will end up believing what you live. It's important to think wisely so that we can live wisely. And I want to talk about 3 lessons I wasn't too willing to learn, but I learned, I believe, during this unexpected and unasked for hospital visit. Christian is to have trust in God. We are to believe what he teaches about human nature, and we are to obey God's commandments. Let me just quickly give my experience. I retired, wonderful career in teaching last May, began to experience back pain, went through various procedures as far as therapy and pain management, but a nerve was being pinched in my back. And so last Wednesday, I had an operation to remove some of the parts there and free up the nerve so that my pain in my back of my legs wasn't so severe. Got home Thursday feeling good, even was able to walk without a walker. But Friday the pain began to increase, and unfortunately the pain medication made me constipated and I couldn't urinate. So by about 11 o'clock Friday, I was in great pain. We ended up calling the emergency vehicles, went to the emergency room. They dealt with that. I felt better, at least as far as that pain was gone. Went home Saturday morning, rested, got up, and there was still a lot of pain. We called our surgeon, who did a great job, been wonderful to listen to and learn from. And he said, they didn't contact me. I want you to go back to the emergency room. You shouldn't be having that amount of pain. So we went back. Saturday, I spent there. They did CT scan, changed the medication. I was able to go home Sunday, and am doing better on different medications. But I want to share what I learned. But I will just want to make a caveat or two here. I've lived a very happy and healthy, prosperous life. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have diabetes. Don't take any of those prescriptions. Don't need them. We're not wealthy. I've been a teacher, missionary. We don't make a whole lot of money. My wife works for the state in a low-level paying job, but we have health insurance. She's managed things very well. So we had good health coverage, able to choose our doctors, etc. So I'm grateful for that. And I know not everybody has that experience. But let me repeat these points. Trust God, trust what he teaches about human nature, and obey God's commands. And I understand that not everybody's going to share my faith. But I do believe this is relevant to people of other faiths and even for those who have no faith. And we could dialogue about our differences here and how you handle these situations. But I'm going to share the advantages I have as a Christian. First of all, trust in God. In this situation, God is in control. He is the sovereign Lord, and he loves us, and he wants what's best for us. Now, unfortunately, sometimes what I just want the pain to be over and get back to how life was. He maybe wants to teach me something. So what's best for us is not always what we want, but we need to trust him that he has our best interest at heart. A little more difficulty. Scriptures teach us to trust him for those who he has placed around us and over us. Need to trust family and friends? I hope we can do that. But we also, and in this particular point, we need to trust the medical personnel that he has placed over us. We don't live in an era of trust. We live in an era of suspicion. What are these people up to? What's the agenda of that doctor, that nurse? What's the agenda of the hospital? I have to be on my guard. That kind of suspicion harms us, raises blood pressure, heartbeat goes up. These aren't good things when we're going to be treated. And people don't respond well to that either. We need to trust them. God's put them there. Now, we also live in an information age, and that's a great thing too. However, it has its problems. We can look up information, medical information, read articles, watch videos. That's a good thing. Maybe I should do it more. But the fact that I've done a little of that research does not make me an expert. I'm not a medical doctor. And so I need to respect these people's expertise, their experience. And I will say they listened to me, they would talk and they would explain things, and that's good. I know from my own personal experience, some of you know I have a PhD in literature, theology, history. I've taught philosophy, published scholarly articles. I know my field. And yet I've had experiences where, okay, we're talking with somebody about a theological issue and they go, but I saw this video. And I say, okay, we can talk about that. But, remember, I do have expertise in this. Give me a hearing. And that's what we need to be willing to do with our medical personnel. Don't go in with suspicion. Secondly, we need to believe what God teaches about human beings. Human beings are made in the image of God. Genesis 1 says, all human beings, male and female, are made in God's image. Therefore, we need to respect them. We do. To disrespect the image of God is to disrespect the God who made them in his image. So we go in thinking, I know we're hurting, we're patient, but we need to remember, I'm in front of the image of God when I'm dealing with a doctor or a nurse or some sort of assistant. It's who they are. That's how God has made them. I need to respect them for that as the image of God. Now, we do have an error in our own Christian faith that can create suspicion. We are all sinners. I'm a sinner. The people around us are sinners. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think we should go into relationships with suspicion. This person's a sinner. What are they trying to get out of me? What are they trying to get out of me? That's not a good help to us and our relationship with them and what we're trying to get accomplished. I grew up in a non-Christian, really pretty much non-practicing religious family. We didn't practice that much, going to church, etc. But I had loving parents. I have a wonderful sister. I had friends. We were sinners. I don't know, many of us didn't know God or think about it, but we didn't have to feel like we're out to get each other. Let's not allow the reality of sin, and it is true, to interfere with the fact that people aren't necessarily out to get us. People respond better again to that kind of trust and respect. And we don't go in with a baseless fear, but with confidence, once again, that God is in control. Thirdly, and this gets hard for a patient because I just want to get healed. I want the pain to go away. We're obeying God's commandments. That's what we're called to do. We are called, keep it simple, but not easy. Love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love our neighbor as ourselves. This is a hard lesson. Love God. It's not all about us. It's about God. Our life is about God, not first about ourselves. And that's really a challenge as a patient. And so we have to think, what is it that God is doing in this? And we're trusting in him. And we're to love him with our thoughts, actions, and emotions. And we're called to do that even when we're suffering. Now, I'll just say, emotions, they're created by God. They have a good purpose. And the medication made me a little weepier than I normally am. I even watched a Hallmark movie and got weepy. But it also helped me. I am not by nature an unselfish person. I'm not given to service. And yet I found people around me that were. And I realized that I need to be more caring for these people. I need to love them as God has called me to love them. And that gets to the second page. Loving our neighbors as ourselves. We are commanded to act in them towards love as God does. As a patient, that's hard because I've got really significant issues. But I'm still called to love that medical person. And I need to remember in my struggles that maybe they're experiencing struggles. Being in the emergency room, working with sick people. People don't want to be in the hospital or the emergency room normally, I think. We want out. And they're trying to help us, but they're dealing with several patients. We don't know what's going on in their personal life. We should be patient and loving with them. I was in there, lots of pain, one doctor. I had to wait to see him. I don't like that. Maybe there's a problem with the system. I don't need to go into all of that. That's not my point right now. But I needed to wait. And I don't need to criticize him or nurses because they have to operate according to certain limitations of their system. And that's just the way it is. So let's be grateful, patient with questions and waiting, because you're going to get lots of questions repeated. And it's better for you. Once again, if we lose our patience, if we get angry, doesn't help our condition again, becomes more difficult to treat us. And staff respond better to love than abuse. While I was in there, there was a woman, God help her, who was cursing, using foul language towards the staff. And what did I hear? Eventually the doctor came to her and said, "This is my staff. You need to treat them differently." So she had to quiet down, and she eventually got treated. But that's not the way it's good to relate to people. We're called to love them, and we'll see that they respond better to that love. Now, let me just also give a little post-op reflection here. Continue to trust in God, believe that He teaches me about human nature, and command to love others. But I also want to mention just the process of accepting our aging. I am 74 years old. There it is. It's out there. Not 50, not 25. It's never going to happen again. We need to just accept that and understand that God's in control and He cares for us, even in old age. A beautiful passage in Isaiah chapter 46, verse 4. Even to your old age, I am He. To my gray hairs or white hairs, I will carry you. I have made and I will bear you. I will carry and will save, even in old age, as we cross the line one day. These are insights and comments that I have. I would appreciate your insights and comments, what you've experienced. And let's have some dialogue about it. I would appreciate to learn from you too. In the next video, I'm still going to talk about something that happened in the hospital. And the question's a hard one. God is good. Sometimes that's a hard truth to follow. Thanks so much.